Hey everybody, welcome back to the Plays and Fades YouTube channel. I'm your host, Gordo Gambles, and welcome back to another full card DFS breakdown, this time for UFC Vegas 61. And on tap, we have ourselves a nice little card coming off of a week off. You know, we're gonna have another week off in the upcoming week, so really enjoy this card while you can. But you know what, frankly, could be a bit better. Not the same level of joy or excitement I'm getting, especially compared to that last card we had. So you know what, we're still gonna crank through this thing. As always, give you my favorite fights to target, looking at who I'm gonna go play and who I'm gonna go fade this week, and go over every single fight as I always do. Before I get into it, make sure you please leave a like down below, subscribe to the channel. Let's do this. Starting off with our fight to target, and I know that whenever you see a guy like Randy Costa on the card, that is typically the kind of guy you want to target in your fight to target. I mean, the fight itself is minus 500 not to go the distance. I think this is one that ends a lot of the time, especially when you got a guy like Randy Costa. I mean, he is known to be all gas, no brakes in that very first round. You know that he goes out there, and typically if the fight goes out of the first round, he loses. I mean, he's been finished multiple times, multiple first-round finishes in his own right. But Guido Cannetti, 42 years old, not necessarily the type of guy who you'd expect to go out there and exploit the gas tank issues of Randy Costa. So I think this fight that ends one way or the other. I think it's pretty simply put, as a guy who's going to come out there like Randy Costa and finish in that very first round, or Guido Cannetti survive the early onslaught and finish late. Either way, you do not see this fight hitting the judges' scorecards. Of course, the pick for me is going to be Randy Costa KO1. I do think he gets him out there early, and at 9.2K, I still think it hits value because this guy is pure aggression, knockdown upside, quick win upside. I think that the guy has a lot of opportunity to go out there and score points. But on the other side of things, Guido Cannetti, $7,000. If he wins this fight, it's probably be an optimal scoring stat line. So either way, I want exposure to this fight. It's the very first fight of the night. I'm picking violence, and I hope it delivers. Next up, let's talk about our main event. We have ourselves a scrap between Mackenzie Dern and Yan Xiaonao. And I think that's going to be a pretty fun fight, but also one that's going to be pretty, let's say, contested with two very clashing styles. I think it's pretty simple. Mackenzie Dern has all the finish upside in the spot. She is favored to win this fight, and you can clearly see why. Yan was just controlled and finished on the ground by someone in Carlos Esparza, and I do think that if Mackenzie Dern is able to get Yan down to the ground, it is not going to last very long. Mackenzie Dern has world-class ground game. I think she has maybe one of the best BJJ skill sets in the division, and in a spot here where she's going to have such a clear advantage, it can maybe only take one takedown for her to finish the fight. What I'm also like from Dern in this spot too is she's showing that she's improving her game. Her striking's getting there. She's improving her wrestling as well. I do think that she is the rightful favorite in the spot. On the other side of thing though, Yan may have some cash upside purely because she's going to be the minute winner on the feet. She's going to have better combinations. She's a good counter striker, good volume. She will walk forward. And if she's able to keep this fight upright, she will look like value at 7.1K. All the upside for me lies in Mackenzie Dern. I do think she has more finish upside, submission upside. Like I said, could only need one takedown. So she is going to be the pick for me. I do think she has a lot of GPP exposure as well compared to other fighters up top. However, if you don't think that Dern's wrestling has improved that much, if this fight becomes a kickboxing affair for 5 rounds, you have to think Yan will possess the upper hand here, and therefore is a decent cash option at 7.1K. Next up, let's talk about the big boys. Let's talk about our man, Alexei Oleinik. This is going to be like, what, the third time breaking down this fight? I'm going to keep this short and simple. It's going to be fun how as long as it lasts. Again, this is a spot where all the upside lies in the grappler. I think that Alexei Oleinik, even at 45 years of age, is one of the deadliest grapplers in the heavyweight division. He has the opportunity to take anybody's breath away or snatch a limb at any moment, just as Jared Vanderaa the last time out. But he's a GPP play. This fight is a GPP play as a whole because Alexei Oleinik is a glass cannon. He's a guy who goes out there, he's going to get a first round submission or he's going to lose the fight. It is a lot of risk, especially when you're grappling against somebody with no neck. Ilir Latifi is a guy who has got an interesting build, let's put it that way. He is a decent wrestler in his own right, but he's a 205er. He's going to be outmatched, and I would not be surprised if Alexei Oleinik finds a way to get to the ground, and once it's there, he's going to have the advantage. However, can you choke out Latifi with no neck? I think that when it comes to their striking, Latifi has that overhand right that could put anybody's lights out. I think gun to my head, I'm going to pick Latifi to win this fight because he has more tools to win this fight. However, I think all the GPP upside lies in the dog in Alexei Oleinik. I think that one takedown could be all he needs. I think that he could go out there and submit Mr. No Neck Ilir Latifi. And if he does so at 7.5K, that is decent upside. But let's talk about someone with a bit more, let's say, security. Someone who's not going to be as risky as Alexei Oleinik. Let's stick with the dog. Let's talk about Jesse Ronson. Yes, the body snatcher, another Canadian boy. You know I love cheering for them. And he's getting a matchup here against Joaquim Silva. I think it's actually be a really fun fight. Both these fighters are coming off, you know what, pretty bad skids, and they're looking to jump back into the win column. I think this is definitely a way to do so here for Jesse Ronson. He is the underdog, and I think that that's probably why I like him so much. 7.8K. This guy is a big lightweight. He's going to have the height and reach advantage here against Joaquim Silva. But I think the one thing that they both have here is power and the willingness to exchange. I think this will be a very, very fun fight for as long as it lasts. And I'm kind of edging the dog here, not only due to his just raw athleticism and power, but also due to his fight style. He's a southpaw, and I think this guy is really going to pose problem to Joaquim Silva because he has lost to southpaws in the most recent fights. Joaquim Silva has been knocked out multiple times before, and I think that the last one wasn't really a good sight to me, and I really can't get that out of my mind. I know Jesse Ronson was kind of stunned and wobbled, but that was my head, but I'm not really going to hold too much against him here. I do think that Jesse Ronson is probably the better fighter, but at 7.8K, there's a ton of upside there, not only for him to find the finish, but for him to rely on his well-rounded game, his size, his build, athleticism. All in all, I do think he wins this fight at 7.8K. He's a great dog for you to roster this week. Next up, we have one of my options for fight of the night here, one I'm really, really looking forward to. We have John the Sexy Mexi Casteneda versus Daniel Santos. Willie Cat coming on the other side. Both these guys, great nicknames, but it's going to be a really, really fun fight. Both these guys are flashy young prospects, so I do think have decent upside here, but we have to pick a winner, and I think the winner lies in the Sexy Mexi side here. John Casteneda has a really, really well-rounded game. Got a really tough short notice to replacement in his debut, but ever since has looked really, really good. He has the ability to walk people down, put pressure. He's got really good durability and a very, very well-rounded game. He's got the opportunity to take you down and submit you as he's done to his most recent opponent in Miles Johns, but I also think that his striking is really, really good as well. He averages more strikes, 4.38, in comparison to Daniel Santos at 3.27. He's got decent accuracy in that as well, and the durability to back it. Daniel Santos, Willie Cat, really is a wild man, and in throwing all these loopy spinning kicks, it's going to take a durable guy because you could most definitely get hit by one of them. Luckily, I rely on John Casteneda's ability to take a beating, continue to walk forward, and I think he melts Daniel Santos over the stretch. If there's a problem on the feet, if the volume isn't enough, if he isn't connecting, he always has that takedown upside as well. I really like John Casteneda this week, and I do think he gets it done at 8.8K. All right, let's talk about this upper echelon of the price range right here. We already talked about Randy Costa. He's a first rounder bust, GPP kind of guy. We talked about Mackenzie Dern. She's also some of the GPP upside. Who am I liking from a cash standpoint? Who do I think has one of the best chances of scoring well? You can look up and look at Sadiq Youssef, a guy who has a really, really favorable matchup and will probably accrue a lot of ownership at 9.5K just because he is a minus 1,200 favorite, just because you have all these immeasurables that he think is going to win the matchup with. But I'm going with Randy Rude Boy Brown. 9.3K, $200 cheaper, and although he definitely has a better opponent in front of him in Trinaldo, I do think he's the much better fighter in this matchup here. Not only does he have the insane youth advantage, but I think he's the much better technical striker, and I would not be surprised if Randy Brown is also able to find a finish here. I think that either way you put it, he's got the great technical in and out movement, he's got the ability to put leather to face, and he's also got a really good jiu-jitsu game to back it up. Why I'm picking him as my cash play is because I just think he's the much faster, younger guy than Francis Trinaldo, and he has the ability to also really test that veteran age of Trinaldo, putting all these strikes to him here. And a dangerous fighter in Chaos William, who was still able to go out there, put out 109 strikes, 93 of them being significant. I think he has really, really good technical ability, and he pieces up Trinaldo over the stretch. He's a pretty safe option to me this week, but I do think he is a guy who also has finish upside. At 9.3K, he's really who I'm going to this week. Right below that 9K threshold, we have Tabitha Ricci, the baby shark, 8.9K. She's another fighter who I'm definitely targeting in cash, and even in GPP formats as well. She's facing someone, Jessica Penne, and she's also a fighter who's going to have an insane youth advantage in this spot. Penne's an older fighter who's lost to the best of the best, but she's facing the new age here, and Tabitha Ricci is not one to be messed with. She's a very, very good controlled grappler. She's got decent wrestling and also really good pressure, and she's just a really, really fun person to watch. Of course, she's a good-looking girl. Maybe that's why you want to back her here as well, but I do think she has all the tools to win this fight. Against someone, Jessica Penne, she's going to have the opportunity to rinse and repeat, take her down over and over again, and really exploit that 40% takedown defense. Tabitha Ricci only averages 3.95 takedowns for 15 minutes, but that's because she's been able to control these people on the ground for so long. I think that Penny's going to be the best fighter she's fought yet, so Penny's going to pop back up and allow Ricci to take her down once again, allowing for her to accrue more points and score even better. At 8.9K, I do think she wins a pretty dominant decision and scores really well in the process. Let's talk about another candidate for fight of the night. This Davis versus Slava Klaus matchup is going to be absolutely insane. I want ownership on both sides. upsides, and let me tell you why. Slaviklaw's coming in at 7.6K. He is the underdog, and we'll talk about why in a second, but every time he's fighting, you have to look out for that striking. Very, very technical, very, very powerful. You love seeing when he's striking because he does it so effortlessly. He's a coach for striking, and you can see that when he is out there fighting. I really like his ability to mix it up on the feet, and I do think that for as long as it stands, he's going to have the ability to, put Mike Davis's lights out. The reason Mike Davis is the favorite, though, is because he has that grappling in his back pocket. We have not seen it yet at the UFC level, but what we do know from Slava, he has horrible takedown defense, and Mike Davis, if he's smart enough, will be able to exploit this. I think it's pretty simple. If Mike Davis doesn't wrestle, it's 50-50, with the power and technicality going to Slaviklaw's and the volume going to Davis. Either way on the feet, you're getting a 50-50 fight at 7.6K. Where I think it's interesting, though, is you're going to have takedown upside for Davis at 8.6K. You're going to have the opportunity for him to mix it up, get takedown points, get ground control points, ground and pound control points, because Slaviklaw's really hasn't shown anything from his back. So this is another if fight. If Davis wrestles, he will look like the hindsight favorite, but if he doesn't, Slaviklaw's will be insane value at 7.6K. All right, let's round out the rest of the card. We talked a bit about that Yusuf fight. I do think he rolls here. I do think he's the better fighter. However, I don't know if he gets that finish as high as everyone expects him to. Shanus looks to be really, really tough, so I think Yusuf's going to have a ton of ownership, and although I do think he wins and I do think he puts up a lot of points, I'm going to kind of deviate away from him just to be a bit contrary, just be a bit different, and kind of go towards that Randy Rude Boy Brown kind of thing. Barcelos versus Jones. I'm all over Barcelos from a betting standpoint. I do think he's the better technical fighter, the more well-rounded fighter, better grappling, better wrestling. I think he has good volume in his own right, and I do think he wins this fight. However, I think the GPP upside lies with Jones just because he's going to have the ability to knock anybody's lights out, as he did to Timur Valiev, as he did to Mario Bautista. I mean, Trevin Jones has power, but I do think that Raoni Barcelos does win this fight at a pretty high clip. I just don't know if I can get to him above Mackenzie Dern, above Tabitha Ricci, above John Casteneda, and therefore kind of didn't want to talk about him too much. GPP upside for Jones, however, the pick is Raoni Barcelos. Grishin versus Lins. I'm all over Grishin here. I think he wins this fight, but I haven't seen what I wanted to from Lins, and therefore I can't give you an appropriate prediction just because I do think he has more to offer. The PFL version of Lins was great, very multifaceted aspect of MMA, and I think that if he implements a similar game plan, he could look like a hindsight favorite, really. However, I don't think he will in this spot. The version of Lins we've seen of late hasn't impressed me too much, and Maxime Grishin is going to be too much on the feet. I do think Grishin wins, just I don't think his ceiling is as high as someone in Davis, Latifi, Casteneda. Just really hard for me to get to Maxime Grishin this week. And last but not least, Jotko versus Allen. All the GPP upside lies in Allen. 7.9K. I think he has finish equity in the spot. I think he's going to have the better striking here. But in reality, it could just be another Jotko decision. Jotko couldn't finish anybody if he tried, and that's kind of why I'm staying away from him at 8.3K. I do think that Allen's always deadly when he gets to the ground, and Jotko doesn't possess that same power threat that has knocked out Allen in the past. So I do think Allen is more live than 7.9K does entail. However, I can't get to Jotko. A lot of my ownership in this fight will be on Allen. But there you have it, folks. We have talked about every single fight on the UFC Vegas 61 card. As I mentioned, we'll get another week off after this, and we'll be coming back with a bang right after that. Don't you worry. But enjoy this card while we can. Next week, no video, but I got a ton of other content. I'll try to bring back the football videos, NASCAR for sure. Always some ways for you guys to make some money. If you guys want to talk to me, know what I'm betting, check me out on Twitter at GambleGordo. I'm getting really close to 2,000 over there. I'd love to see you guys show me some love, and always DM if you have any questions. Other than that, hopefully you liked the video. Hit the like button down low, subscribe to the channel. And with that, guys, enjoy the fights, and let's make some money. Ding.